I got my PhD in language and communications from New York University. I was teaching college at that time. I was an instructor in English, teaching writing. Before that, I taught literature. Somewhere along the line, I got hired at Brooklyn College for speech. And it actually was a better fit. I had some theater background as an actor. And so I've been teaching speech ever since then, but it's more about communications. And there are some commonalities, obviously, between written and oral communications. As far as writing is concerned, after I finished my doctorate, I got this release of energy, and I had an idea for a film book. So my first book was called Film Forum, and I interviewed people like Chabrol and Altman, Scorsese, Bertolucci, Godard, Fassbinder. I have no idea how I was able to get these people, but I spent the entire advance interviewing them, and then I created a symposium in print, which is the same format 25 years later of my 22nd book. Well, the title of the book is Cinema Today, A Conversation with 39 Filmmakers from Around the World. The reason it's called A Conversation is because I structured it as a symposium in print. I interviewed 39 filmmakers, and my goal was to really reflect auteur type filmmaking, which means the filmmaker is the author in the sense that the filmmaker writes the screenplay, directs it, does camera work sometimes, and edits. And so he's very much in control of the film, as opposed to a Hollywood type of production where every set role is delegated to somebody else. I wanted to reflect in the 25 years since my first book how much filmmaking has changed, and it's changed obviously not in the sense of its aesthetics so much and its meaning and its ties to society, but technically in that there's lighter weight, cheaper equipment, everything's going to digital. So that democratized filmmaking, and countries that didn't have a single film coming out have burgeoning industries or thriving industries right now. So I set out to get as many filmmakers from every little corner of the globe, including those parts of the world that had never had filmmaking there before. I had very young ones, new ones who were the next big thing, and some established giants like Konstantin Costagravas, if you remember Z. Mm-hmm. He was one of the senior ones. I had Olivier Assayas, who is one of the top filmmakers in the world right now. Sergei Dvorsky, who did an incredible film. He's from the former Soviet Republic, and he did a film called Tulpan, which played at Film Forum for a little while, got rave reviews. An extraordinary film called Brillante Mendoza from the Philippines. There's a Swedish filmmaker who did Let the Right One In, Thomas Alfredson. They did a remake, an American remake, that couldn't begin to touch it. Let the Right One In was an extraordinary film, got rave reviews, and it kept going for a while. There were a lot of filmmakers like that. Some of them well known, some of them not. These 39 filmmakers are exceptional and totally different from the kind of Hollywood generic pap that we get here. And the sad thing is we don't get to see them because most of them don't get distributed here because it doesn't pay, they're not mass market. But they're great because they're great writers. They are every bit as complex in their art and in their expression as the greatest novelist, but they have more to work with. They're gifted not only in being able to translate the complexity of real life as opposed to a genre. I think this book is of interest and a benefit to just about anybody who's interested in filmmaking, how it works on us as an audience, or you as an audience member, how these people go about the decisions that they make to create a film, how a film is made. Actually, anybody who has any interest, doesn't mean you want to be a filmmaker at all. Anybody who's a movie fan will find something in this book of interest. People who are literary people will still find it interesting to see how this particular form expresses itself as compared to theater, or theater people would be interested to see that, because I do a lot of comparisons between the other arts and film. So anybody really who's interested in how human beings express themselves on a deliberate, refined, artistic way would be interested in this book, because they do explain the process of how they go about making the films, why they make them, and what they're hoping to achieve, and what they feel cinema's place is in our lives, individually and as a society.